It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hey folks, thanks for joining. I'm Sam Lesante. Folks, I don't know if any one of you have experienced or in your family or know of anyone who are involved with drugs, which is a sickness today that is really literally killing our country. We all know about it, okay? And I'm sure some of you and your family have been affected by it, or relatives or friends, and you've seen the devastation that happens in the families or happens with people who are on drugs. Well, today we got good news, somewhat good news, and of course we have bad news. Statistics are there, we're just going to review some things, but maybe after today's show, you may have an opportunity of getting some help on a recovery basis if you know of anyone in your family or anyone who's involved, or also the prevention pack. That's the key, folks, to prevention. So today with me is Eileen Panzarella, and she is the Director of Prevention Education and Pathway to Recovery. You remember the Sereno Gardens? Well, Pathway to Recovery is the name of the place now. And we're talking today about addiction and recovery. A phone number, folks, that you should call just for any information whatsoever. I want to have Sammy put that up periodically on the show, 570-455-9902. Okay, well, Eileen, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
As I said to you before, I know of families that have been, just involved with the drug problem, the heroin problem. We all know this. So the opioid addiction, how did it happen?
You know, it really happened this time around. It was really a pain medication overdosing and abuse of pain medication is what about 85% of our heroin addicts right now actually started as pain medication addicts.
How many?
85%.
Wow.
of the heroin addicts. Compared to, I was just looking at some numbers, back in the 70s we had a heroin epidemic also, but most of the people started on heroin and then went to pain medication. So this is a reversal of what happened then. But it was just maybe some lack of education. There wasn't a lot of education to doctors about some of the new opioids like OxyContin that was out there, and people were prescribed it legitimately for an accident, a surgery, but it's highly addicting, and they were getting addicted to it. And what was happening as doctors were maybe finding out that their patient was using it too much, eliminating their prescription, but a person's now addicted, and they're found out, hey, I can turn to heroin. It's cheaper, I can get it easier, and then they started using heroin from the streets.
So the interesting thing about what you're saying, I know Dr. Mead, Tom Mead, good friend of mine who has a show here, in Coordinated Health. They have a program now for one same-day knee surgeries to take people off the opioids, okay? And so don't give them drugs. And I'm sure other hospitals or other doctors are looking into that and knowing that this could be a problem. But some cases you do have to prescribe that. But I know Coordinated Health has been very active in their surgeries, particularly with knees, the same-day surgery. So they're aware of it. In fact, he did a big forum on that. And so we're running it now, this forum that Dr. Mead put together. And we want to educate. So when we get to the point of education, okay, so when we talk about drug awareness, people understand that. So let's go back here, and so we talk about the prevention part, okay? Where do we, as parents, guardians, okay, know what to look for? How do we educate our young people? And for that matter, anyone. It's not only young people. I know people in their 20s and 30s and 40s, and you certainly see them up there, okay? How do they get started? I mean, we know we start on the pain pill. So what do we do? What is the process here?
Well, we have ones starting on the pain pills, but then there's ones too who are they're using drugs, and maybe they're using marijuana. and then that gets kind of boring to them, and they move on to a harder drug like heroin. So there's some beginning there. And so what needs to happen with parents is, and this is when they're young, I mean, you really need to start in elementary school, is keeping open lines of communication, and being aware of what your kids are doing, who they're hanging out with as they get older, who their friends are. Those are some of the first steps involved with it.
So Eileen, let me tell you how screwed up our society is. Okay, that you don't already know. Let me and I know these are touchy buttons, but now we get to the marijuana problem. Okay, I've had district attorneys, I have judges, I've had, you name it on the show. Okay, and law enforcement. The district attorneys in the state of Pennsylvania, from what I understand from District Attorney Christine Holman at Schuylkill County, and also Stephanie at Solomon's at Luzerne County, a majority of them said to the legislature, this marijuana situation is a serious problem, okay? And of course they want to legalize marijuana, okay? In some cases, for medical purposes, let's put that aside, okay?
Right.
Let's put that aside. But because of money, greed, and whatever, and because people cannot manage what they should be managing in the state of Pennsylvania or any state, they want to legalize marijuana. Now you see it every day in your life. The district attorney sees it, the law enforcement see it. Why then would a legislator want to legalize marijuana when people say, it's not going to hurt you, I smoke marijuana every day? Tell me about that.
I think just like you said, it's a money thing. They're trying to fill their holes in the budget. They're seeing states that have legalized it, like Colorado, making a lot of money from it. It's a highly taxed. Colorado, I think, is 26% tax on it. So it's something they could tax and fill their budget with, and they're not seeing the social issues that are happening.
It's an interesting. Now, have you any statistics? I have information from people. I know people who live in Colorado. Okay, do you have any statistics of what's happening with the drug addiction in Colorado? Or in other words, have different areas like heroin and heavy use of drugs, because you used a good word, they get bored with it, okay? And that's a very good word, okay? Do we have any statistics?
I'm not sure if they have any statistics on, who's going from marijuana to heavier drugs yet.
How about the crime rates? I'll find that out from Speziali.
And I don't know numbers, but I do know, like, the car accident rate in Colorado has greatly increased. And so that's something. A lot of this is hard to find numbers. The media kind of keeps it quiet, and that with it, it's something that it's a little difficult to find. But we were just at a training, and it was, it's hard. Car accidents are going up. They're having a hard time finding workers in certain fields who don't test positive, and they refuse to hire them if they do.
Eileen, I don't have a magic wand, but I just see the destruction of our country because of greed and money, okay? And legislators should be accountable. They don't know the damage they're doing to society, okay? I know the people who use marijuana think it's the greatest thing, and I'm not criticizing anybody. Some people say, well, I just smoke marijuana. I don't do that. They're very far and in between. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. His mother's 81 years old. She smokes 2 packs of cigarettes every day. Well, God bless her. She's one of the very few, okay?
Right.
And so what do you say, stop smoking? No, but I mean, those are very rare exceptions. Am I correct? Okay.
Right, and once a doctor, and this always stuck with me, a doctor said to me, marijuana smokers always say their life is great, but their mind is really clouded. He's like, a heroin addict knows their life is horrible. And they're not clouded like a marijuana smoker. So we hear that. It's wonderful. I feel, but
see, with a lot of people, the legislators don't see and realize the destruction of families. They don't see the pain and the agony. The people who are out there stealing, the people who are stealing from their parents, stealing from their relatives, just to get the money to pay for the drugs. And this is the problem that we have. So if you legalize something, that people are saying they should legalize drugs, okay? Well, okay, I don't know. I mean, legalizing drugs, you're really, what, for money? okay? Because you don't know how to manage your money. And so therefore, because you have stupid people in the office, okay, and I say stupid, don't know how to regulate different things. Then they have to tax people on different things like the cigarette tax, etc. And here it goes. It's a circle. You know, it's a circle. We always have to find out the cause, okay? And that's one of the things I think that, you know, if we're looking at prevention. So when we come back after break, we want to talk about telltale signs, okay? Then we'll talk about, all right, so unfortunately something happens. I have 3 grandchildren, okay, who I worship and adore. They're beautiful, okay? I fear, okay, for these young people because I don't know if some wacko in a playground, or because they're very vulnerable, okay, the parents are teaching them. I don't know if someone's going to say, hey, you know, let's talk, and then, well, try this, and you know, that's why the parents are on them. But they're on the top of them all the way. So we have to talk about what should our parents do? What should we do in Guardians? And for those people who don't have the time, you know, where can they get some education? Folks, I'm talking to Eileen Panzarella. Very serious problem. We know that it's costing us. People are being robbed on the streets. You know, they're home invasions just to get money to pay for drugs. It starts somewhere, folks. It has to start somewhere. So we have our legislature said, let's legalize marijuana, okay? The statistics, I'll tell you, are devastating, particularly from law enforcement. So they don't listen to law enforcement anymore. They just want to, they don't know how to manage what they're doing because we do not put people in there that know how to manage. It's a vicious cycle, folks. We'll be back after this. I get off on a tangent with this stuff. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, all of our programs, all the Sam Lesante shows, the girls, you name it, out in left field, they're all on our website, ssptv.com. Getting a lot of comments from people who live in California. There's our soldiers in Afghanistan, as you know, that one person who presented a flag to me. People that are all over the world in England are watching our shows, and we appreciate that very much. Now, for those here in northeastern Pennsylvania, you know we're on Comcast 190 in the greater Pottsville area. Comcast 190 every day. We're on Channel 92, Service Electric Communications in the Mountaintop, Wilkes-Barre, Kingston area every Saturday and Sunday evening, and Lackawanna County on Comcast 190 every Saturday and Sunday mornings from 8 to 11 with all our programs. And of course, my email is sam@ssptv.com. We are also HD on Service Electric Cablevision, now HD at 513. So if you're watching us channel 13 and you have an HD camera, go to 513. You'll see the difference. My guest today, Eileen Panzarella, who is the Director of Prevention Education at Pathway to Recovery. The Pathway to Recovery was formerly Sereno Gardens, and we're talking about the drug problem, education. Then we'll talk about a little bit about recovery. So what can parents do, guardians do, friends do, to try to prevent this problem?
So I think parents, you know, they have to be involved in their child's life. You know, from an early age, they have to talk to their kids, let them know their thoughts on drug use, and that how parents are the #1 anti-drug. When kids don't use drugs and they ask them why, they say, because my parents. So they need to let their children know, we do not, you know, accept drug use. But, you know, get your children involved in things, but don't just use it as a babysitting service. Be there for them too. Go watch their games, go to their dance recitals, let them know that they're supporting them. And then as they get older, you know, keep the lines of communication open, but you have to be aware, if you start seeing new friends that you don't know who they are, and that grades dropping, maybe they're acting tired a lot, they're becoming very secretive, you have to start wondering what's going on in their life.
Boy, you are so right. My daughter and my son, you know, I told you I have 3 grandchildren, but before there's ever a sleepover at any place, okay, believe me, they're scrutinized, okay, because they want to know who, what, who's in the family, who they are, everything, and they keep a close watch on that, and that's so very important, okay? So, you know, young people, okay, like I said, you know, my grandchildren, 11, 12, 13,
That's
You know,
the
these are
age,
ages
yes.
that are critical ages,
Yes.
okay? Now, all right, so we see those things, but there are some very sad stories. The sad stories are the parents are on drugs.
Exactly.
So the kids see the parents on drugs. How sickening is that, okay?
And not only, I mean, if it's heroin or whatever, but you even have to be careful with your alcohol
Yeah,
use.
yeah.
And that if you're partying, every time you party, you get drunk. Your kids are seeing that. And they're just saying to themselves, in order to have fun, I have to use drugs. So they have to watch even that. Their attitude about marijuana, whether they believe it's good or not, they need to have, you know, tell their children, but we do not accept you using these drugs.
All right, so we have the unfortunate person who is hooked and they are, you know, on drugs, okay? Now we come to Pathway to Recovery. There are different programs and things that Pathway Recovery has to help on the recovery basis. So give me some of those things that you do throughout the year and what you have at Pathway to Recovery.
So throughout the year, we're doing prevention in the schools. We're going into 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, talking to the students. And we're really basing it a lot. It's called life skills training. So we're trying to teach resiliency skills with the students. We're teaching them how to cope with anxiety, how to cope with anger. We're teaching them how to communicate, how to make good decisions. Those are some of the lessons. And then we also have drug information lessons too. So we're doing that. But we also, like one thing we're going to be beginning now in September, and hopefully we'll be having it throughout the year at different places, a mock teen bedroom, where parents...
A mock teen
bedroom.
Okay.
Right?
What's that?
So it is going to have different paraphernalia, things that kids might hide their drugs in, which is really eye-opening. I mean, there are realistic things that you might, it's a bottle of water, looks just like a bottle of water, but you pick it up, you could twist it, and behind the label is a little safe area where they could have drugs. And you would just think your kid has a bottle of water on their nightstand. And that's, so we're going to have all these different paraphernalia things for parents to see, and maybe, you know, if they do suspect something going on, but they're like, I never see any drugs, well, it could be hidden. So we want to make parents educate them on those kind of things. It's eye-opening. And that some of the things I didn't even know, being in this field that long, and when I saw a mock bedroom last year, I was really, wow. You know,
Do you have that now up in?
We're getting it. We are borrowing one from Carbon Monroe Pike Drug and Alcohol for an event that we're having, but we're going to be creating our own very shortly in the next few weeks. So then we'll be able to have it throughout the community at different events.
Boy, that would be something, that mock bedroom, okay? Sometimes people can't, because I know you have, throughout the year, like for example, you're having something in September, October?
At the end of September, we're having a drug awareness expo.
Okay.
And but
Where's that going to be at?
That's at the Hazelton Area Career Center.
Okay, and so then throughout the year, you know, you also have activities or, so when you have this mock bedroom, okay, because it's anything that's opening, it'd be a great opportunity for me to come up there and do a show on location.
Yes.
And show the mock bedroom.
Right.
Show the people, you know, so people understand. Okay, so now you have this, and you have this information. A parent discovers something that they don't want to discover, okay? What do?
Yeah, they need to reach out. They need to reach out to a counseling center. There are many in the area, we're us being one, but they need to make that call, have their child come in for an evaluation where a counselor will look to see, you know, was this a one-time thing? Is there some pattern or behavior here? And see if there's a diagnosis of some kind of addiction. And then they can move into some kind of counseling. We have outpatient counseling. We do outpatient. But if it's called for, and we do have teenagers coming in who need inpatient, and we will help the family find an inpatient unit for their child to go to.
Being raised in an Italian family, you did something wrong, the strap came up, and some people say, I'll take care of this situation. You're doing drugs, come here, and they beat the crap out of the kid, okay? Or, you know, they punish the kid because they take it in their own hands. I can understand a parent's frustration. but not necessarily is that the best thing to do these days.
No.
Okay. I mean, you're upset. Any parent, if they see that, why would you do this, etc. This is bad,
Right,
and you're
right.
screaming at the child or whomever, an adult. All right. Sometimes they need your help, not their help. Okay. So this is where we have to understand that they have to call for help. Correct?
Yes. Yes, because this becomes a brain disease, and that as the drug is in their body, it is affecting their brain, and they're going to need professional help.
It's so true. I know a few people. It just frustrates me. I mean, God bless you, people who work with this every day, because you see the sad. I mean, when Ed Payne used to come on, I mean, you could see the sadness of what these drugs are doing to these families.
Yes.
Okay, and particularly elderly people who are on the drugs, they think that they can control it. But 455-99024 is the number. If you call and you have to just get information, okay?
Right.
It's always that first step, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess that's the hardest, right?
Yeah.
But take that first step, and there's people that'll, guide you through it and help you along the way.
Now, you have trained people, okay, at Pathway to Recovery. It's always good to have a testimonial, okay? Like if you had a person here who would, was willing to come on and saying, this is how I started, okay? How do the most of them start? How do they get addicted to? I mean, what are these kids? Are someone pushing the drugs? And like I said, I mean, how do they start?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just there's so many different reasons. It might be curiosity. What does this feel like? Trying to fit in, and that it's the peer pressure. Their friends, you're not cool if you don't do this. It could be rebelling too against, parents. You're not going to tell me what to do. There's so many different first. Why do they start using drugs? So many different first reasons.
And how many of those, Eileen, start at that level, whether marijuana, move on and continue to move on, and people do not do anything about it till they end up in a slab in the coroner's office?
Yeah, I mean, that's what, it's a progression.
Yeah.
And as alcohol, marijuana being the first gateway drugs, we call them, leading to harder drugs.
So your organization has made presentations to the state legislation indicating why legalizing marijuana is not good, okay, and not medicinal. Let's put that aside, okay. If it's healing someone, that's a whole different ballgame, okay. Prescribed, the whole bit, monitored. But anyone who could just go out and buy, marijuana, and then, you're absolutely right. They get bored with that. It's like, I say people, how many guys, you go out and have a couple beers, and you're having a good time, and you're having a couple beers and you enjoy, and then, hey, let's have a shot. Then you go into shots, okay? Right. There's always this, excitement going on. 455-9902, folks. It starts somewhere, doesn't it, folks? It starts somewhere. So if legislators say it's okay to legalize marijuana because we want the money, forget about destruction of your families. Forget about these poor people that are getting hooked on gateway drugs, okay? It's just sad, folks. It's very sad. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, 24/7, SSPTV.com. All of our shows. My email, sam@ssptv.com. My show today, Eileen Panzarella, Director of Prevention Education for Pathway to Recovery. Remember, was formerly Sereno Gardens. 570-455-9902. Call them if you need them. Wrap up what you do at Pathway to Recovery, the prevention, helpfully the recovery, et cetera. Give me a synopsis here.
So we have a prevention department. We're in every school in the Hazleton Area School District, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, doing life skills training. So ask if you have a child in those grades, ask them about it throughout the year. We'll be getting started shortly. We also provide community education. Anyone who calls us, a lot of the industry will call us for their health fairs, and we'll provide brochures, a person there to answer questions throughout it. So we'll do a lot in the community. And then our counseling department, we have our outpatient counseling, and so we do individual sessions, group sessions. We have partial hospitalization, which is more intensive. They are there for more hours and more days per week. So it's people who don't want to go inpatient, but it's intensive. We also have a mental health license now too, because many times drug addiction and mental illness go hand in hand. So we have a psychiatrist on staff and a mental health counselors available also. So.
Sometimes you live in the forest, you can't see the trees. Sometimes you know that the person in your community, or you know of a person who's using drugs, but the parents are oblivious, they don't know what's going on. Is it my job to notify someone, to tell them that I know, I know it's touchy, but what do you recommend?
Yeah, that's a hard thing because someone has to want to come in for counseling.
Yeah.
You know, we can't make them change just because their mom wants them to, and they really have to want
Best
it.
bet would be is talk to the parents, say, look, there's an opportunity here. Saw Eileen on the Sam Lesante show, and we have an opportunity here to maybe help. Because the whole thing is to try to get help, okay? And then we take it from that particular point.
And if they want it, you know, just try.
Well,
Give
certainly,
it a call.
there's a lot available, and sometimes I don't think people know. Some of them do, but a lot do not know what's available. No matter where you're watching the show, folks. I mean, I'm playing this in the Lackawanna area. There are call the number. I mean, call 455-9902, and they'll direct you if you're watching us in Scranton or Clark Summit or down by Pine Grove. On these different systems, they'll direct you, okay? Am I correct?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Well, I got to say this, Eileen. My hat's off to all of you people who work up at the Pathway to Recovery. It's a challenging job. And before I close, I have to say, folks, you notice I got flowers on my desk. Well, I got to tell you what happened. These belong to the girls, but one of the shows was moved, so I got the flowers, and I want to thank Smith Floral for giving us the arrangement. They absolutely do their best. If you watch the girls show, you'll see Smith Floral's arrangements. They are the best, believe me. And aren't they beautiful?
They are.
Okay. But I want to thank thank Debbie, my wife, and my daughter for giving me the flowers, okay? The number at the Pathway to Recovery is 455-9902. No matter where you're watching it, get help. It's there. You've seen the devastation, and call your legislators and tell them to wise up. Wise up. We'll see you next time.